Happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday. Today is Track It Tuesday, but it's also day 3 of our 21-day financial fast, written by Michelle Singletary. This is our community's, it's part of our month-long savings challenge as well as the 21-day financial fast to help develop new habits on how you are intentionally spending your money. So I am the Nicole Johnson, founder of Wealthy Women Lifestyle, where I teach women to define and achieve their goal of financial freedom so that they can begin to live life on their own terms. The beauty of the community is that we have women ages 35 to 55, some a little older, some a little younger, with all different types of life scenarios. But the end goal is that we're all striving to get financially fit. And it looks different for each of us. The the commonality is that we're striving for the same thing and we're here to support each other. Okay, so day 3 talks about God's generosity and cheerful giving. This is one of my favorite lessons in the book, but it's also one of my most challenging lessons because it talks about to whom much is given, much is required. And what that equates to me, that means for me, is that in the work that I do, I have to put my time in. And the one thing that I hear from our community is, Nicole, I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. Time. I don't have time. Okay. That is the common thread for all of us. Okay. However, I will consistently say we make time for the things that we want to get done. There's some things that we need to get done. We make time for that, but we also make time for the things that we want to get done. So I'm going to leave that part there. But today's lesson and pledge says, and I'll take my glasses off because it's easier to read that way. I will identify someone, a friend, family member, neighbor, or coworker who needs help either with cash that I can afford to give away or my time. I will use generosity toward I will use God's generosity toward me as an example of how to be generous to others. As I prosper, I will share my wealth with others. Okay. So this lesson really is going to dig into how do we help foster love and relationship, community giving to our fellow man. Okay. How do we do that? And I'm not going to even get into the stories of people who get rich and forget where they come from. We're not getting into that. We're talking about how do you or how do we give to others? Because giving is not always about finances. Sometimes it's a phone call. Hey girl, what up, bruh? How you been? Oh, I'm fine. No, I've been seeing him post on Facebook. You don't look fine. So what's the real deal? And I'll share my personal testimony about that because a few years ago, a friend of mine, she started out as my coach. She became my friend. And I'm very good at deflecting sometimes. Don't y'all tell nobody, okay? Don't y'all tell nobody. But I can be good at deflecting. And sometimes it's used to de-escalate, okay? But in this particular scenario, it was because I did not want to talk about what was really going on. And then she said, you've been on my mind. I was supposed to make this call several weeks ago and I got busy. But when you click that post on Instagram, it was my reminder to reach out to you. I said, girl, I'm good. How you doing? She said, oh, no, ma'am. This call is about you. I remember that call as if it were this morning. Okay. As if it took place in the last 15 minutes. When you give to others, it's about the impact that you make in their lives. And that's not always done by finances. So I told her what was going on. And the perspective that she provides, she said, now I'm all for the course of action that you're taking, but it doesn't seem to be resolving your issue. It doesn't resolve the situation. And it hadn't. It was not. The situation was actually getting worse. And I didn't know what else to do. So I was internalizing, how do I fix this? How do I fix this? But that phone call gave me the best piece of advice and redirection. And when I followed what she gave to me on that call, the situation immediately cleared up because she told me to remember what God's purpose was for my life and focus on it. Quit focus on the problem and trying to have a solution for the problem. I was feeding into it too much. Redirect. Focus on what you're supposed to be doing. And when I did, because that focus is on my community, I had been absent from it for some time due to health reasons, some other reasons. And when I began to focus back on the community, the issue went away. So I am grateful for people who take time out of their busy schedule to pour into me. So, my question for you, as you are gaining prosperity, as you are adjusting your mindset to be intentional with the decisions that you make, how can you bring somebody along on your journey? How can you pour into someone else? How can you be a help to someone else? Now, if it's that person needs $50 and you can afford to give away, put it in a card and say, I love you. Send the cash app, say, just thinking of you and hope this helps. Don't need no big to do about it. Ain't got to tell everybody you did it. But sometimes it's that phone call or, hey, come meet me for lunch on me. So, I get choked up every time I think about it. All right. So today's lesson talks about generosity gone astray. Okay. So I want you to read that. And tonight, when we come together, and let's see, it's Tuesday. I'm going to post what time. By noon today, I'll be able to share with you what time we'll get together tonight because I do have a scheduled appointment. But I want to make sure that I have time for you guys to meet me in the Zoom room so that we can have some conversations about what these lessons are giving to you. Okay. But your assignment is think of the last person who could use some help financially. I'm sorry. Think of at least one person. See, this is what happened when I ain't got it in my face. Think of at least one person who could use some help financially. For example, perhaps there's someone struggling to purchase groceries. Could you pick up some extra grocery items for them? If you can't afford to help someone with cash, how else might you be able to help their financial burden? Perhaps it's offer to babysit. Perhaps it's offer to send them to someone else who can help them get financially fit. Offer to drive that person to a few errands, take them to work for a week free of charge. It's the little thing. But in your generosity, we're going to talk about that and how can you find a way to be generous even when you're struggling. So many times I see so many posts that say I showed up for people even when I was hurting. I showed up for people who I knew would not show up for me in the same way, even when the tables were turned. I learned a long time ago, I grew up in Chicago, and there's always somebody, a homeless person sitting outside of one of the restaurants or something like that, asking for assistance. And I told my aunt one day, I said, sometimes I really do want to help, but I don't know if this person gonna take this money and go buy anything other than the food that they've been asking for because they said they were hungry. And it was in her wisdom that she told me it's not about what they do with it, it's about the place you come from when you give. When you give from a place, a good heart, no expectations, that's between you and God. When they, how they do what they're supposed to do when they whether they lied or not, whether they've been deceptive, that's between them and God. So from that point, if I was a little hesitant, then I was, well, come in, I'll buy you a meal. I can tell if the person really wants a meal because they're gonna come in and get some food. If they did, nah, just give me the money. Okay, well, I can't help you with that. Okay. So it is from the heart where you give. That's most important. And what you give. And if God spoke a word to you, for you to do something, then obedience is also how we are blessed. All right. So we are blessed in our obedience. So I hope that you are keeping up with day 3. And we will be live in our Zoom room tonight. So that we can come together and have some fireside chat. That's what I'll just call it, some fireside chat. Because for some of you, this is new and you need instruction. So at least through the first section of why to do a financial fast, I'm going to be here live with you each night as best I can, so that we can talk through the emotions that you might be feeling, or the confusion that you might be feeling, or the conflict that you might be feeling, so that you can be successful. Because when you practice something for 21 days, it begins to become a habit. All right. I am the Nicole Johnson, founder of Wealthy Women Lifestyle, where I teach women to define and achieve their goal of financial freedom so that they can begin to live life on their own terms. And this 21-day financial fast and month-long savings challenge, it is not difficult. It's not difficult. I want you to lean into your community, lean on these shoulders over here so that you can get through it and see a change, so that you can begin to be intentional with the financial decisions that you make for your future. I'll see you guys later.